technically he didn't actually take a position on that. So
That is true. Mike, what do you say to this accusation that you're not wearing pants?
Fortunately, I can neither confirm nor deny.
Has your lawyer encouraged you to not respond?
Yes.
Working
Which
against
is weird,
yourself
since
there,
he's
Brian.
also the one bringing this up in the first place.
Yeah, right.
never said that was a good one.
Oh my god. Okay, so we're recording now, and it's been almost a minute. We'll give it another 10 seconds. Let's quick, everybody point and laugh at Mike and make poop jokes. Ah, poop.
I'm just gonna say thank you, Chewie, because now Castlevania music is stuck in my head.
Excellent. Anyway, copyright.
Demonetized.
See, I thought you were doing like the naked aliens from the first Futurama movie.
I have never seen any of the Futurama movies.
They made movies?
Yeah. That's a lie. No, I saw one.
Bender's Big Score?
I saw the Valentine's one with the tentacle thing.
Yeah, that was the second one.
Yeah, I watched that with Megan and Casey once, years ago. That was pretty good.
Yeah, Bender's Big Score was the first one, I believe.
Well, there you go. So, now that I'm sure that the recording has started, because now it's at 2 minutes, we should get going. So, hello, everyone. This is a Just Chatting stream, although apparently I'm putting these on the Manipool feed now, because it's either that or nothing, and people would rather listen to us ramble about nonsense than about nothing. So, hey, or than nothing. We are essentially rambling about nothing most of the time on these streams. Yeah. So, hello, I'm Chewie. I'm here, and I have topics that I don't think the other two dorks are aware of yet. So this will be awesome. Or the other three dorks, because Mike is back.
He did, in fact, allude to this earlier, that he had something to talk about that was cryptic, and I'm like, that's usually my thing.
Yeah, but I want your honest first impressions, because it'll be better that way. So we'll just wait. So, okay. Yeah, Brian is here, of course.
Yep.
Dirk is here, of course.
That's me.
And Mike is in the bathroom.
Unfortunately. Not the actual bathroom, just a device with a much different microphone.
Good cover,
hey, man,
Mike.
What you put in your toilet, that's up to you. So, some people get a bidet.
Oh, man, I'd love to have a bidet.
Get a low-quality microphone.
So, yeah, that Mike is on his tablet rather than his laptop because he is not where there's great internet, apparently. And so Discord is stalled on installing updates, and we didn't feel like waiting for, 48 hours for that to finish. So we just decided we would get started. And if the Discord updates finish, Mike will hop over to his laptop and sound better.
Yes.
So in the meantime, we get to hear part of what Mike says, because apparently it's only sort of picking him up sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know where the microphone is on this thing, so I'm not sure exactly where I should be talking to or how I should be holding this to get the best results.
Okay, here's the test. Run your finger along one edge. Okay, now run it along a different edge. Did you do it?
Yeah.
Oh, I think the microphone was on the first edge then.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So
do it again.
Is that it?
Yep, that's it.
Yep.
Okay.
There's your microphone.
All right, good. So I'll hold it like this.
Nailed it. Okay, so yes, this is, as I alluded to earlier, a just chatting stream. We're going to talk about a bunch of stuff, but because we have Mike back for the first time in forever, we're going to get Mike's feel on Midnight Hunt. Because Mike has not been here at all for any of the Midnight Hunt stuff since that original, like, quick preview thing that they did a while back.
Yeah, the like initial teaser announcement thing.
Yeah, but like Mike hasn't been here to talk about Daybound and Nightbound or anything.
Nope, nothing. And it's also been like over a week since I last looked at any card, so there's a lot of stuff I don't remember. I did pull up the mechanics article in front of me real quick, just so I'd at least have that.
Yeah, that's why I dropped
But
it in
as
the
for
Discord.
individual cards, I don't remember anything right
Well,
now.
that's okay. We don't care about individual cards so much. We're just interested in what you think of the mechanics.
Yeah.
Um, they're pretty neat. The day and night stuff for Daybound and Nightbound. I know Mark Rosewater has talked about this was one of the ways they thought about implementing it initially to have some kind of tracker for day and night, but they decided, nah, let's not do that. That seems like it's a bit much. It's just another fiddly thing that might not even matter sometimes. But I guess they decided to look at it again and they came up with this way that, I guess seemed clean enough to them that they wanted to go ahead and implement it. It's also an interesting way to keep the day and night synced up all the time, as opposed
Yeah.
to the previous werewolves, which could sometimes fall out of sync. Not for very long, but they could.
Yeah.
I think it's really neat that it allows for um, permanents to enter the battlefield with the night side showing if it's currently night. That's very interesting. And it also means, and I feel like I saw this on the cards that I did see, it also means that there isn't as, I feel like there isn't as much of a swing between the day and night side because you have to account for the fact that you don't always have to go through the hoop um, for every single card to get it to flip over for every single werewolf card and other things with Daybound and Nightbound to get it to flip over to the other side. It might already be night, and you can just cast it for the normal casting cost and just get the night side. So things kind of have to be balanced a little differently because sometimes you're getting the night side even though you haven't gone through the extra hoop that you used to have to.
Yep. I
Yeah, see,
do.
it's going to
Sorry,
be
go
a
ahead.
little. It's probably going to be a little confusing if people, want to mix them with older cards because people are just going to, people have all. I know plenty of people out there have built werewolf decks. I have, and they'll want to put some of these new werewolves in their werewolf deck, and they'll just have to remember that not everything works exactly the same way. But I don't think it'll be too big of a load on just remembering what you're doing during the game.
Yeah, that's the only real downside that I saw is old werewolves and new werewolves are not going to play well together. Since the new
Yeah,
werewolf, the new Daybound and Nightbound stuff only cares about the active player as far as the flip triggers or the day to night triggers. Whereas the individual old werewolves care about all the players at all points.
Mm.
So
that means
that's going to
it's
be a pain.
easier to get to. That means it's a lot easier to get to night and a little more difficult to flip to day for the daybound nightbound stuff because it's just one person at a time. So it makes it a lot more effective and worthwhile in big games of just more than two players because if you're playing in a game with, three or four other opponents, your werewolves are never like your old werewolves are never going to turn over to the night side. Like never.
Right?
This is not
You
going to happen. And
you're
if they ever do, it's going to take approximately, 30 seconds for them to flip back to the day side.
yeah. You are not wrong. So I've played with the set actually a decent amount. It came out on Arena last Thursday, and then on Friday I picked up pre-release kits from my local game store and took them home to play with Sam and myself. And it's a lot easier for you if you are playing these cards and you want them to flip. It's a lot easier to do that and not have somebody else like hold up an instant, even in a two-player game, to just like not let your stuff ever flip. It feels like you have a lot more control over it. And yes, the opponent can, flip your stuff if back on their turn. And then it is taking a turn off for you is not without consequence. There's a couple of times where I'm like, oh, I really want this to flip, but these I've got these other things I want to do during my turn. Where's the balance? And I definitely like the thought that it kind of like uh removing damage from the stack and all that stuff with the rules change. These decisions are a lot more impactful, and so I appreciated that. What do you think about Disturb?
That's really cool. It's another variation on finding a way to give flashback to creature cards and combining it with the transformation aspect. Yeah, it makes for some really cool looking, fun looking stuff.
Yeah.
Especially with the fact that you don't even have to go through the process of getting it on the battlefield and letting it die first. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
this is where my mind would go. You could
Yeah.
just put it directly in the graveyard and start going from there.
And no one here is surprised by that. No one. Yeah.
Yeah, Disturb's awesome.
I don't have as strong feelings about it just because it's a little more generic of an idea, and but you see one and you immediately get how it works. So that's good. You need to have that kind of mechanic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Coven is just weird. I don't think
Yeah.
we talked about a single Coven card once we got past the preview, the mechanics previews on
Mm,
either of the last two shows.
I
Hmm.
don't know that we did.
We did not.
Just I mean, that's another one where the some of the individual cards with Coven are kind of interesting, but as a mechanic, it's just you you don't have a whole lot to say about it. So
Well, and I don't think anything. No, there were no mythic cards that had it. And when we were kind of looking at rare cards and just other random cards, I don't think any of those had it on it either.
I mean, there are rare cards with Coven, but I know what you mean. When we were just pulling out, oh, this looks cool, that looks cool.
Yeah,
Uh,
we definitely went around Coven cards for the most part.
well, some of them are interesting, but it's not. It doesn't evoke the same. It's more like if there is a Coven card like Sigarda that's cool, then it's a cool card that happens to have Coven, not
Right.
oh, it's
Not a
great
cool
that
card
Coven is here.
because of it.
Yeah.
Wait, Sigarda had Coven?
Yes.
Oh, so maybe we talked about one Coven card.
I mentioned it had Coven.
Apparently, it
I'm
didn't
sure
stick
we
though,
did.
because I did not remember that at all.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I have to know. I know we're not going card by card, but I have to know what Mike thinks of Lord of the Forsaken because, Mike.
I don't have the card gallery up in front of me yet, so you're gonna have to read that to me.
So for 4 and 2 black, it's a demon, of course. It's a 6/6 mythic with flying and trample for 6 mana. It has 2 abilities. Pay a black and sacrifice another creature. Target player mills 3 cards. And pay 1 life, add a colorless mana. Spend this mana only to cast a spell from your graveyard. And I think this got voted the card most likely for Mike to kill himself with in the set.
That was not this one.
That was not this one? I mean, I can definitely see Mike killing himself with this, but was
I
there
guess
something
maybe
else
it
as well?
was.
Maybe there's something else you can kill yourself with.
This
too.
is you'd have to be a special kind of stupid, no offense, Mike, to kill yourself with this one, though.
You haven't gotten to the right creature yet, right cards yet. You gotta keep sacrificing stuff and
milling
milling
yourself.
cards. Although I have no doubt.
It encouraged me to, accidentally wreck my board position by sacrificing too much stuff.
Yeah. Because your whole library isn't in your graveyard yet.
Yeah.
Well, it's the specific card he needs to completely win the game is not in the graveyard yet.
Exactly. So.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I really like the adding mana ability. At that point, once you have 6, I guess that means you can do all kinds of cool stuff with it.
Mm-hmm.
Went back to Coven briefly. Okay. When I first read a card with Coven, and it's like, you control 3 or more creatures with different powers. Powers? What counts as a power? Are they introducing some new thing, new classification like historic or something? And then I was like, oh, wait, it literally means like power. Okay.
You had the exact same response as literally every other person.
I was going to say, yeah, we had that discussion on that episode.
Yeah.
All right, then.
Okay.
And, yeah, we had some, like, questions. Because Mike wasn't here to set us straight, we had some questions about copying double face cards and whatnot that are day-bound and night-bound. And they work like we thought. You only get the side that you copied, and if it tries to flip, it can't because there's no backside.
That works exactly the way we thought. I know we were talking about this when it came to Ludovec, Necrogenius.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we were earlier today. We were corrected in the Discord, and I was like, "Didn't we say that?" He's like, "Well, you weren't 100% sure." It's like, "Oh, okay."
I said I was waiting on Mike because I knew Mike would get it right.
Yeah, because I was pretty sure that's where we ended on. Was this almost certainly works like every other double face card?
Yeah,
I'm sure that's what we said, but new cards.
I think we left it vaguely open because Daybound has. Oh, hey, that's another sub. By the way, thank you, Gothic, for that. However many, 45, I think, months earlier. Yeah. Oh, and then 14 for 38 months. He is you. I didn't say you were a butthead, but yeah, 14 is the one who corrected us. And the reason I remember now, the reason that we left it kind of vague and said almost certainly was because Daybound and Nightbound have rules that aren't on the card. Because if you've got a Daybound human warrior werewolf like the Tavern Ruffian that's on the screen, and someone casts Moon Mist to transform all of your humans, he doesn't transform because he can only be transformed by day and night.
Yes.
But it doesn't say that on the card anywhere. So
you have to kind of know that.
Yeah, and I said I don't know how many other intrinsic rules that aren't on the card are going to be part of Daybound and Nightbound, but it's probably still going to work like every other double face card. And yeah. So that's the only way you could have a Daybound creature out at night is if it's a copy.
Hmm.
But yet another example of designing cards with digital in mind more,
Right.
where Arena just
Surprised it
does that
doesn't
for
even
you.
have. I'm surprised it doesn't even have a reminder about that on the little helper day night card that they gave you.
Right? Like there's plenty
Surprising.
of room there to write that down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Guess they wanted to maximize the art. I guess.
I guess.
I guess.
All right, I'm gonna try to switch over to Discord on the laptop real quick.
Okay.
Oh. Awesome. I was going to say, he didn't leave the call yet, though. That's weird. But there he goes. I wonder if he did that thing where he tried to join on Discord on the computer before he hung up. Oh, there he is.
Nope.
Hello? There is no hello.
All right, here
Not a good sign.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
there he is.
You sound much better.
yeah, good. You all sound much better too.
Excellent. Okay then. So are we done with magic now? Because this is a non-magic episode.
Did Mike like the last one? Mike, did you like the Hostel?
I do remember seeing that and liking it, but I do not remember what it does.
That's all right. We're just talking abstractly. So
And the creeping in, was that the second?
that was the other side of it.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Hey,
in playtesting,
Mike
they
just
called it.
resubbed for 18 months.
Ooh.
And he said phasing. Because Violet asked, who gave Mike phasing? I mean, he was in the bathroom. He said Discord was trying to update, but we know he was just in the bathroom.
Now, wouldn't this count as blinking? Because he clearly entered the battlefield much better off than he was before. So,
Oh, it's true, yeah. Oh, it was that delayed cantrip type of blinking where he returns at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. That's why there was a delay.
there you go.
Yep.
Taking it old school.
Oh yeah. Hey, Violet just resubbed for 19 months. Sounds like he has Undying. Aw.
Oh.
At least it's not Disturb, I guess.
I think there was one card we looked at and thought, this card has got to have a story behind it that we just don't know anything about.
I feel like that was a couple cards. I know that there were at least 2 or 3 that we said I do and don't, like the Meat Hook Massacre.
That's the one
where-
I was looking at going, okay, something happened because it was a massacre that involves meat hooks.
And it's
there's got to be
legendary.
a story. Do what?
And it's legendary.
Mm-hmm. So it
Yeah.
must be a legendary story.
It's not a Meat Hook Massacre, it's the Meat Hook Massacre.
I mean,
But-
any kind of massacre I think is going to be legendary.
The Pastry Massacre.
Well, no, I mean like think of the actual the something massacres that we have in our own world.
Yeah.
Like all of those are like, "Oh, yeah, that was a thing."
Yeah.
So it makes sense that it'd be if it got the name the something massacre. Yeah, it makes sense that it would be legendary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the first
But no.
2 that popped into my head were admittedly Boston and Columbine, both of which are like, "Oh, yeah."
I immediately thought of Sandy Hook, so
See?
yeah.
So the Meat Hook Massacre being legendary, it's just obviously, yeah.
Yeah. So I want to hear these topics that Chewie has been teasing us with, tantalizingly.
All right. So we'll go with the easy one first.
Okay.
Let me send this to you guys. This was announced on the Nintendo Direct just a couple hours ago. Well, I guess a few hours ago now. The Castlevania Advance Collection is already on the Switch, apparently, and it'll be coming to PS4, Xbox One, and Windows at some point. I don't know what Windows means. Hopefully Steam? I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
So
But
Game Boy Advance.
It's
so.
the 3 Game Boy Advance games. So Circle of the Moon, which is the meh one, and then Harmony of Dissonance, which is the one with Juiced, and then Aria of Sorrow, which is the first one with Soma Cruz. And also, as part of this collection, you get Dracula X, which was a Super Nintendo game that
Wasn't that Rondo of Blood, or
no.
Okay.
It was the... So apparently, Konami had... I've learned this since the Castlevania episode of School of Movies that I was on, which I'm listening to, actually. I started listening to today while I was dashing. Holy crap, everyone needs to listen to that. Alex put in Castlevania music behind us while we're talking, and it's a 3-hour show, so it's brilliant, because you've got us talking about Castlevania stuff while glorious Castlevania music plays behind us. It's wonderful. But anyway, yeah, it turns out that Konami's deal with Nintendo, there's a reason that... So Konami made all of these Castlevania games, but none of the ones that are on a Nintendo platform are on any other system. And it's because the deal that Konami had was apparently an exclusivity deal. And so, like, that's why Super Castlevania 4 for the Super Nintendo is so drastically different from Castlevania Bloodlines on the Genesis, is so drastically different from Rondo of Blood on the TurboGrafx CD. And Castlevania Dracula X is... It gets hated on a lot because people look at it like a stripped down version of Rondo of Blood, but it's really not. It's its own game that happens to use some of the sprites and ideas from Rondo of Blood. And also the Super Nintendo couldn't do the same thing that the PC engines or the TurboGrafx CD could do because CD. But it gets a lot of hate, but having played it, it's good. I like, at least for like the 30 minutes I played it, I was like, this is really nice. I don't know why everyone hates it. And then on the next day of streaming, when I was doing the Castlevania taste test, I played Rondo of Blood and I went, oh, this is why people hate Dracula X, because Rondo's really good. So if you look at it as a watered down Rondo, of course you're going to hate it. But it's not a watered down Rondo, it's a different game. So that's pretty cool.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it gets... apparently there's a rewind function. It says to help players backtrack. I don't know what that means. And a few more quality of life additions like quick save and button mapping, which... That makes sense for a modern Metroidvania games. So yeah, that
Cool.
was announced today, and I thought that was pretty baller because I've just recently played all these games and was on the Castlevania episode of School of Movies, and I'm looking forward to actually playing through all of these. And now I have a more modern way to do it. Although I'm probably gonna pick this up, but I'm probably still gonna play the emulation on stream because I found some like patches for a couple of these games. Like, you see this blue outline around Juiced here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I found a patch that removes that. Like, it was originally done that way because the GBA didn't have a backlight.
Uh-huh.
And so they put an outline around Juice to make him pop off the screens more. But when you're playing it in full screen, like via emulation. It's
Distracting.
yeah, like it's cool for a few minutes, and then after a while, it's like, stop glowing.
It's my aura. You wouldn't understand.
So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this hitting Steam. But apparently, like I said, it hit Switch eShop already. Like they were waiting for the Nintendo Direct to announce it, and then they just flipped the switch and said, go. So yeah.
Okay.
So for anyone that didn't play these in the past, because like me, you didn't have the handhelds, well, now you can get them legally. All together in a nice little package. Hopefully there'll be a DS collection in another couple of years, because those 3 games are amazing, and only one of them requires the touchpad for anything, and it's kind of dumb. So, and I actually downloaded a patch to literally just erase that functionality from the game. It's called Magic Seals, and when you beat a boss, as soon as you get its health down to dead, the bottom screen lights up with where to draw the magic seal, and you have to draw it in. And if you don't draw it in fast enough, then it reverts back to fighting the boss, and you have to hit the boss some more times. And then it pops up again and gives you another chance.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, that was the first one, right?
That was crap. The first one was the second of Dawn of Sorrow.
Yeah, that was annoying.
Yeah, Portrait of Ruin and Order of Ecclesia did not fool with the touchpad at all. And they're better off for it. So hopefully that'll be a thing in the future. But until then, these 3 games were all also, well, these 4 games were all quality stuff. So did you guys ever play anything? Mike clearly played Dawn of Sorrow at some point.
Yeah, I know I played that one because Thomas had it. He might have gotten Portrait of Ruin, but I can't remember how much of that I played. I played really far into Dawn of Sorrow. I can't remember whether I actually finished the game or if I got kind of sidetracked doing
collecting,
like the secret dungeon area instead of actually going to kill Dracula.
It's a common thing in a Metroidvania game. Ooh,
Yeah.
that was a thing. What was that? Whoa, Violet Moon just gifted 5 subs. Well, thank you, Violet.
Wow.
And welcome to, let's see here, FPNY Razorback Blank All Day, That Guy, and Y2J Crisis.
Love that guy.
Nice. And hiccups. Yay! Subs. Delicious, delicious subs. But, yeah, I played all of these briefly, during that taste test stream. And I really enjoyed Juice, the guy on screen here from Harmony of Dissonance. I really enjoyed moving him around the screen because he could actually dash in both directions from the get-go. You didn't have to find an item or anything. And I didn't once I realized that, I think I played for another like 15 minutes just because he was so much fun to just run around the screen.
Uh-huh.
And because I was only trying to play each game for like 30 minutes and they moved to the next game. Clearly I failed. That's why it was a 14-hour stream. But Circle of the Moon was fine. It was not... Nathan Graves is really slow.
You mentioned... Sorry, go ahead.
And he's just a little... He was less fun to play than the other two. And then Aria of Sorrow is the first appearance of Soma Cruz, and that was also really good. It's much prettier. Then the other two, like none of them look bad, but Aria's where they really nailed the look of and feel of things. It's okay. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say. So you mentioned you're talking about like the first guy being able to dash in both directions and the next guy being a little slow. Um, it's always interesting when a game gives you a mobility upgrade and not necessarily one that allows you to reach a new area, like in Super Metroid Samus Aran's like super jump or whatever, but just a basic like quality of life. Hey, traveling everywhere doesn't take quite as long, sort of thing. It's always interesting when a game decides to give it to you at the beginning versus makes you work for it. Like in Mega Man X, just about everybody went to the penguin stage first, right? Why? Because of the boots. And you know what they did in X2 through X whatever? They gave you the boots immediately. Like, just start the game, you've already got the dash. So, um, I just, not to get us too stuck on a tangent, of course, that is what I do, but when a game
That's what this
decides
show
to give,
is.
that's true. When a game decides to give you that mobility, and again, I'm not talking about like, oh, this allows you to reach a new area. There's a reason why those are parsed out. But just oh, thank God I don't move like I've got, like I'm wearing the iron boots from Zelda Ocarina of Time on all the time. Imagine if Zelda started you out and you had them equipped and you had to find an item in the first temple to take them off.
Oh, like chastity boots. Wait.
Uh, how would that
Just don't think about it too hard.
I can't help it now. This is what you have wrought. But I didn't know if you had any thoughts on that. Having played, this is what I'm contributing to this conversation because I actually did not play any of these games. I did rent Castlevania Dracula X once or twice, and I think only once or twice did I beat the first level. I was not very good. Um, Super Castlevania completely ruined me for direction and control of your character and your whip, and everything else felt like a big step backward. But this is what I have to contribute. I didn't know if you guys had any thoughts about the mobility thing that I brought up, or if you're just like, huh.
Yeah, I think making you earn it is just leftover from old game design ideas. Something basic that doesn't really change where you're able to go.
Mm-hmm.
Something basic that just makes the game, more pleasant to play. Yeah, it should be given up front.
Yeah, like a sprint button, and it'd be weird to not be able to have a run button
Yeah.
in. Well, like playing the original Final Fantasy, you moved at the same speed, and playing, even Final Fantasy IV, you moved at the same speed. And I think 6, there was a relic you could get that would make you run fast.
6, there was a relic that you could get the sprint shoes, and
Yeah.
then if you played any of the remakes from the PlayStation on, I believe they just give you the dash button,
Yeah,
so you
there's
don't have
just
to
a run
take.
button now.
Yeah, so you
And
don't have to take up a relic slot with it.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
almost impossible to go back
yeah.
to
You're
plodding
just
along at a snail's pace for no reason. Like, there's no gameplay reason to be moving slow.
yeah.
There's no
You
gameplay reason for you to not be able to walk faster. Like, in Circle of the Moon here, the first one of these, you can get relatively quickly, you can get the sprint shoes where you double tap in a direction and he'll run. But the minutes before you get that are just such a bitch. Like, like come on, dude.
Mm-hmm.
That makes me think of the Diablo series. In the first Diablo game, you just walked, walk, 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 walk. In Diablo 2, you have the option to run, but it drains your stamina bar. So sometimes you get stuck where now, okay, you've been attacking and running and you're trying to escape, but now you're down to walk, 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 walk because your
Mm-hmm.
stamina is gone. And you have to drink a potion to get it back up. At a certain point in the game, it doesn't matter. Your stamina is so high, it's like whatever.
I
In
don't know.
Diablo 3, in Diablo 3, there's no stamina bar. It starts you, the default setting is run. You can switch to walk if you really want to, but no, they just let you run everywhere.
Yeah, a bunch of so I've recently, thanks to Alex Shaw, or not thanks to Alex Shaw, I blame Alex Shaw for this, of School of Movies. He's gotten me into patching ROMs of old games, and especially in Nintendo games, I saw a lot of patches. They're essentially hacks, but I primarily look at ones that fix bugs that were, that made it all the way to the end of release. Because nowadays, if there's a bug in your game, you can just patch it, and the next time the person starts it up, it'll be like, hey, there's a patch, hang on, and it'll patch it, and then you play without that bug. That's amazing. But on consoles with cartridges, the only way to patch a game was to stop creating cartridges with that version and make cartridges with the new version instead. And everyone who had the original already, oh well. I found out just recently there were 2 versions of Legend of Zelda. There was a revision 1.1, which the only change that I know of that was on it was on the continue save retry screen. In the revision, there was a little box, or a big box of text below that said, hey, be sure you hold reset when you turn your power off to protect your battery data. And that wasn't there in the original release. And that floored me. But anyway, I found a bunch, to get back on topic, I found a bunch of old like NES and even Game Boy games that were either turn on auto run or just make character move faster or add a sprint button or a sprint option. And because there's no reason to not be able to move faster, like as long as it's not gonna change the actual gameplay, it's just quality of life. So yeah, I agree with what Mike said. There's really the whole purpose of this. People are going back and patching old games just to make you move a little faster. And I saw a bunch of them that had like edits. They were like, oh, this made X part too easy, so I dropped down the speed boost by, X%. So now you can't just make that jump for free anymore. And I was like, hey, look at that. They're even trying to preserve gameplay while still adding in some move speed. Nice. Yeah.
Realized I was muted there for a second. Thank you. So what's the other topic you wanted to get our live reaction to?
Okay, so
if we're done with Castlevania.
I'm done with Castlevania. Dirk, did you ever play any of these?
No, none of these. My experience with Castlevania has been, I think I played a little bit of the first one many years ago at a friend's house. I have the mini Super Nintendo, and I've played a little bit of Castlevania 4. And then my only other background is Symphony of the Night. And I played a little bit of Castlevania 64.
Ooh.
And I got frustrated just trying to get into the castle.
Well, yeah.
At that point, that was when the early 3D graphics, and you're like, I'm just trying to jump from this to this. And because I was still not used to how 3D objects move or spin, or the controller, I don't know what was going on, but I just could not get from one area to another in order to get to the castle. So that's essentially been my experience with Castlevania. I love Symphony of the Night. I would think it's the most well-known and most I won't say most well loved, but I think that it it took everything that the previous entries had, and it took it in. Kept the best of everything.
Wait, which game was that?
Symphony of the Night.
Oh yeah, like Symphony of the Night is pretty much the best loved.
Yeah. Because I don't want to say it's the best one, because that's very subjective. But I feel like it's the one that said, okay, here are the mistakes we made. Here are the things we did well. Let's make a game that has just purely the best things that we've learned and people love. And that was Castlevania. And then that was Symphony of the Night. And then they said, you know, it would be awesome since we got all this free space still on the disc. Let's just turn the castle upside down.
Yeah, Symphony. So it's weird. Symphony of the Night was actually like a side project because Konami Brass was convinced that 3D was the future of gaming. So they pretty much let Igarashi do whatever the hell he wanted for Symphony of the Night, which is why it turned out so good. And they even delayed it by a bit so they could fully implement the inverted castle. Which, if this was, the basket they were putting all their eggs in, there's no way they would have delayed it for something like that. So, yeah. It's really fascinating. The story of these.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that one has been my favorite and everything. So
also, Circle of the Moon, the first of the Game Boy Advance games, is non-canon for some reason. So that means if Dirk were to get this collection, he wouldn't play it because it's not canon anymore.
Oh.
It's funny because it's true.
But anyway, okay, so the second thing then.
Yes.
All right. I want you guys to try to click the link without
reading the description.
Yeah, without reading the link or looking at the preview if you can. All right, okay. I'm gonna drop it here. Go. Did I not drop it?
This is the same one as the Game Boy.
Oh, I copied the wrong one. Idiot.
I mean, I can try to avoid this, but it's pretty darn obvious. All right.
So this was the big news that came out today in the Nintendo Direct. There's gonna be a Mario movie. By I won't tell you who it's by in case that is the thing. But
I will say this: I'm hoping that they go somewhere with this movie.
I don't understand that sentence at all, Dirk.
Compared to the original Mario movie, yeah, I hope they can go somewhere with this.
Like where?
Because the first Mario movie just... I don't know.
Well, that doesn't...
I remember watching the first Super Mario movie and just going, so this movie makes not a lick of sense.
See, that doesn't count. Nintendo had nothing to do with that movie, obviously.
Well, I mean, I understand that.
But, like, this is going to be straight up a Mario movie. But the cast list, if I hadn't been driving and door dashing and thus driving when I had this, I would have hit my head against a wall. Because Chris Pratt is Mario.
Which,
yeah. Yeah. Anna Taylor-Joy. I don't know who Anna Taylor-Joy is. The Queen's, was she the main character in the Queen's Gambit?
Yes.
Oh, okay, that's gonna be Peach.
That's a fantastic series.
And who is Jack Black?
Bowser.
Jack Black is Bowser. You know what? I kind of dig that.
Interesting.
Charlie Day is gonna be Luigi. Keegan Michael Key is Toad. Seth Rogen is Donkey Kong.
Huh.
Which honestly, I'm kind of looking forward to that part. Kevin Michael Richardson. Do what?
I said that matches.
Which
Like,
one?
That's a dead ringer.
Seth Rogen?
Yes.
Nah.
That's Donkey Kong. Yeah, I'm like, yeah. I see that.
Kevin Michael Richardson is going to be Kamek.
That's the Magic Koopa, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fred Armisen is Cranky Kong, which it just trips me out that Cranky Kong is even in here. And
Right.
Sebastian Maniscalco, who's a stand-up comedian. I love his stand-up. He's very Italian. Is Spike. Who the hell is Spike?
Wasn't Spike the mini boss from Mario 3 that you fought? You jump on him, and so he'd like show you spikes for a minute, and then you had to wait. Sometimes he would sprout wings.
No, that was, what was, Boomer? Is that his name?
I don't know. I think Brian's right.
Okay, well, I hear someone looking it up. Good, someone looked that up. I don't know who the hell Spike is.
Spikes are Koopa enemies that throw spiked balls or bars from within their mouths. Those guys?
What? It says that Charles Martinet, who's the voice of Mario, is also involved in the animated film. Hopefully he'll be like Waluigi or Wario or something. Because he was the voice of Mario, Luigi, Wario, and Waluigi in the games. And yeah, this is by Illumination Entertainment, who are the ones who did Despicable Me and Minions and The Secret Life of Pets and basically every other forgettable non-Dreamcast, non-Pixar, non-Disney CG animated movie you've ever seen. That was Illumination. Like, they are not known for their good stuff. Oh, those guys.
Yeah.
Brian sent us a picture.
Reason I didn't, remember that is because it's kind of like a Goomba, it's just a random minion.
Yeah, right?
I think I would remember Goomba, Koopa Troopa, or Shy Guy before I'd remember Spike. But, not hating on him, just kind of an interesting choice.
Weird. So, like, I'm already worried about this because they've stunt casted every role. Like, there's not a voice well, Kevin Michael Richardson is a voice actor, but everyone else is an actor. And actors do not necessarily make good voice actors.
Mm-hmm.
It's by Illumination, and I went,
I'm just tripping. I love Chris Pratt, but it's a me, Mario, but Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm always one to give stuff a chance if I can. I remember hearing about the casting of he's deceased now, but Joker in The Dark Knight. Heath Ledger. And before, like, just when they were shooting and they announced, oh, he's gonna play the Joker, I'm like, I don't see that at all, because I had only ever seen him in A Knight's Tale and some of that other stuff, right? And clearly he gave it something that it had never had before. So I'm not gonna be, it's so and so, he can't do that. But except for except for Seth Rogen as Bowser.
Donkey
I'm
Kong.
sorry, as Donkey Kong. I'm like, none of these feel like super obvious choices. So, which I mean, in and of itself is not necessarily a bad thing, but I must admit, when I started reading this, and I'm glad you wanted my live reaction, because when the title is Nintendo's apparently real Mario movie, somewhere in my head, you know how words get jumbled up a bit. I thought this was going to be a live action, and I'm like, almost like photo realistic live action, like what they've done with Lion King and all that. And I'm thinking, I'm picturing like the live action Goombas, um, and it was not pretty in my head. You trust me. You
Actually,
don't want you don't want to see a photorealistic Goomba. It will haunt your nightmares. Do
yeah,
you think they're
if you do a
fuzzy?
Google image search for realistic Mario, you'll see all kinds of god awful nightmare
I,
fuel.
I have no doubt. I have absolutely no doubt. Do you think Goombas are covered with a layer of fuzz? These are things that you shouldn't have to ask yourself.
And now I am. Thank you.
Happy honeymoon, Mike.
So yeah, like I said, the fact that they've stunt casted every role and it's with like the lesser of the three big CG animation studios. Cause let's look up Illumination Entertainment real quick.
I guess in that kind of relationship, Nintendo will definitely be, the entity in the room that's most in a position to throw its weight around and call the shots.
that is true. That is true. Basically, Nintendo was like, we're going to borrow your film studio for a couple months to make a movie. I'm hoping that's how it played out.
You're hoping, but like, let's see here. Where's the filmography? This list of Illumination films. Here we go. So they did Despicable Me, which was apparently good. I've never seen any of these.
Despicable Me is good.
They did a Hop, which I've never heard of. Oh, it's the one with the rabbit. Okay, I've heard of that. They did the Lorax, which nobody liked.
Good.
Then Despicable Me 2, Minions, The Secret Life of Pets,
I
Sing.
did like.
What?
I did like this, the Secret Life of Pets and Secret Life of Pets 2.
Okay, good. That gives me some hope. Sing, that I've never heard of.
Sing wasn't bad.
And The Grinch, which I don't think I've ever heard anyone talk about this version of The Grinch ever, which
Because
is not a good sign.
It didn't stand out like at all. It was really unnecessary.
Yeah.
I thought it was a thing.
Yeah,
See?
I don't even remember it coming out.
But Secret Life of Pets came out 2019. Did they not put anything out last year at all?
No, very few movies came out last year at all, remember?
I mean, I do not forget what 2020 was, but other studios still put out a couple things. So I was just curious if I just missed something.
But yeah, like their track record for quality is not high. And yeah, last in the chat said Illumination blows their money on acting, stunt casting, instead of on, the quality of the film itself, which yeah, all right. I clearly. Wait, who did that? Who did that animated film about the oh god, the amusement park? I thought that was Illumination. So clearly they don't do all the bad ones because that one's not listed here.
I'm not sure which one you're referring to.
I can't remember what it's called. I just remember seeing trailers for it and going, that looks like crap.
Well,
I think
clearly,
I
yeah.
what you're talking about. Is it like a derelict amusement park or something?
Yeah, and like there's a young girl who has an imaginary version of it or something. I can't. I don't know.
This isn't even beginning to ring a bell for me. So
This is all going from my memories of Wonder Park. Gothic said, "Is that it?" Wonder Park. Wikipedia.
who made Kung Fu Panda? Was that DreamWorks?
No, it's Paramount Animation and Nickelodeon Movies.
Okay.
With Ilion Animation Studios, who I've never heard of. But when you mouse over it, it says Skydance Animation Madrid. How?
When?
What?
When did it come out?
2019. So yeah. So they don't do all the bad ones. They just do some of the bad ones. So it's not like the lowest tier of CG animated movies. Yeah. Thank goodness. But it's definitely not the top tier, because that's Disney and Pixar, and then DreamWorks is just like a little below that, and then there's a gap of some size, and then you have Illumination.
Yeah.
Because DreamWorks started off as like the not Disney joke, but their stuff isn't bad these days.
No, they've done pretty well.
But okay then. So I am cautiously optimistic about Mario.
Sorry, before I was trying to remember what DreamWorks, because I agree with you, but I was like, what DreamWorks pictures have I seen that I really did like? And How to Train Your Dragon 2 is one of my favorite animated movies, which I've seen a lot of animated movies.
Yeah.
So that was a high watermark.
Yeah, the How to Train Your Dragon films are really good. Kung Fu Panda, those are good.
They're fun. Yeah.
Madagascar, I even enjoyed.
Oh yeah.
At least the first two. I can't remember if I ever saw the third one. But then they have things like The Croods. Is that a thing?
Yeah, I think they came out with the sequel this year. I think
you're right. Mr. Peabody and Sherman.
I saw that while waiting at Sam's dentist one time.
Wow.
I was glad I didn't, pay for it.
Oh God, they also do the Boss Baby. Okay, never mind. DreamWorks sucks.
Did they do Home? I'm trying to remember if they did. That was a good one as well.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not like Oscar worthy, but worth seeing at least once, I think.
Nice. And apparently they're doing the 3D Captain Underpants movies too.
Okay. Yay.
Yay.
I'm gonna cut in real quick. I'm gonna have to leave because Chelsea and I need to take care of some stuff tonight. So
okay, man.
I'm gonna have to jump off. So everyone have a wonderful night, and I will see everybody later. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Night, Zerk.
Bye. Did they do the Prince of Egypt?
Yeah, they did Prince of Egypt. Okay. And Shrek, of course, was DreamWorks.
So if anything, they kind of started out on a high note, and then they've had high notes and low notes. But Prince of Egypt, my opinion, once again, one of my favorite animated movies. Just done very well, very tastefully, especially considering the subject material. Could have gone very, very wrong. So
it's weird that the same company that did the Shrek series, you can say they did something very tastefully. What?
Yeah, I know. No, I'm not disagreeing there. Shrek was all right. I don't think it's the end all be all that some people really think. Shrek is love, Shrek is life, or whatever it is. But, dude, the soundtrack to Prince of Egypt. Went back and listened to that, and some of the songs still give me chills. So.
Well, basically everything before How to Train Your Dragon is questionable. Monsters vs. Aliens. Does anybody remember that movie?
I vaguely yes.
The B movie. Oh dear God.
Oh, that's so infamous for being so bad.
Flushed away that no one ever saw. Over the hedge that I remember. All I remember is the hyperactive squirrel.
I remember that, but mostly because I read the just the daily comic strip in the paper. Not so, and I was like, "Oh, cool! They made a movie," and I saw it, and I was like, "Yeah, it's fun," but it was literally like junk food. Ate it, watched it, and then forgot about it by like the next day. So
Yeah, like they started with ants. God help us all. That was awful. And then
that
Prince of Egypt was good. Road to El Dorado is an unappreciated classic, I think.
never seen it. Always wanted to see it.
Chicken Run is actually better than most people seem to remember, but it's stop motion. It's not CG.
Yeah, I think they just distributed it. They didn't actually produce it.
Okay.
That was done by the Wallace and Gromit people.
Which you can
Yeah.
tell because yeah,
Yeah, it's very clearly those people, yeah.
yeah.
And then Shrek, then Spirit, the horse movie, and then Sinbad Legend of the Seven Seas, which I don't know if I've ever even heard of.
That I've seen, and the villain is played by, was it Meg Ryan? Was played by someone that really had way too much fun voicing her, and you can tell. But again, the movie otherwise was
Michelle
okay.
Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer, yeah. Um,
Hmm.
it was fine. It was clearly, but that and Ants were clearly them being like, look, we're just like Disney. The films where they didn't try to be Disney, I think, worked out better. Like Prince of Egypt, like Shrek. Shrek 2, I thought was pretty good.
Shrek 2 was pretty good, yeah.
Yeah.
But
But
then they also did Shark Tale. Oh.
yeah.
So early DreamWorks is what Illumination is now, essentially.
It's basically, is this like the even, is it like Star Trek where the evens are good and the odds are bad, or like
No,
you
I don't.
skip every,
I don't think it's quite that uniform.
it's not that consistent.
Yeah. But then, like I said, once you get to How to Train Your Dragon, you had Megamind, which was good. Kung Fu Panda
Yes.
2, which I've heard is way better. Puss in Boots, which I've never seen.
Never seen.
Rise of the Guardians, which I've heard people really like, but only specific people.
Never seen it. Heard of it, never seen it.
The Croods Turbo, which was about rocket powered snails or something.
Huh. A movie I don't know that I've ever actually heard of. That's incredibly rare. You have no idea. I'm obsessive about random stuff.
Abominable? I've recognized the Yeti in that, but I don't know this movie at all. It came out 2019. Okay, that's why.
Saw trailers, never actually saw it. So,
Huh. I like the way talking about the Mario movie got us started on like just CG animated films in general.
well, this is the studio making it. So,
No, this is DreamWorks.
oh, this is DreamWorks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
This is why I love the Just Chatting streams, because we just sort of meander.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's Illumination that's making it. We're talking right now about DreamWorks that arguably has a better track record, although even they clearly have
Yeah,
ups and downs.
they're up and down pretty hard.
Yeah. But they've also been doing it longer than Illumination. So
That
they've
is
had
true.
more
Yeah, they started in
time to
'98.
figure.
Illumination started in, it looks like 2010.
Yeah.
Wow.
Whereas Illumination leans real hard on Despicable Me, and you can tell because Despicable Me and 2 and 3 and Grinch and not well not
And
Grinch,
like
but,
Minions are freaking everywhere.
yeah. Whereas DreamWorks for a while was like once they hit on Shrek was Shrek and like Shrek 1 through 4 and Puss in Boots, and so they kind of leaned on that. Although I will say, Shrek really started the making like the subverting fairy tales trend, which I realized that has been around for a while, but it really kind of brought it into the mainstream. Where I felt like have you ever been to a Red Box?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how there's always the like Red Riding Hood movie or whatever, where it really looks like It should be a DreamWorks or Disney movie, and it's some like fourth party studio somewhere. But it's like, oh look, all these subverting, fairy tales. I'm like, yes, I've seen this before. Where can it be? Everywhere these days. I
Yeah,
do think Shrek.
except Shrek was directly Jeffrey Katzenberg flipping off Disney.
Oh yeah, the scene at where in the first one where he comes to the kingdom. I forget the name of it, and it's basically
Duloc.
Dulot. Thank you. And there's there's the line to even get in with the velvet rope that winds around and around, and the mascot runs right through it.
Yeah.
And then the little civics thing as you go in, and it's the little singing people that is taken directly out of It's a Small World.
Oh yeah. But not only that, like the scene where the soldiers are rounding up all of the fairy tale creatures,
Uh-huh.
and there are several of them that are clearly, Disney things, and they're all getting harassed or thrown into cages or whatever. That was Katzenberg going, yeah, screw you, Disney. How dare you fire me? Take that. And Disney sitting on their giant pile of money going, all right.
Oh no. Oh no.
Guess you got us, bruh.
Yeah.
We're going to be over here buying Marvel and Star Wars.
I like the scene where the magic mirror is showing the short guy. Here's some princesses that are available, but he's listing also, Sleeping Beauty suffers from narcolepsy and stuff like that. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I appreciate the humorous take on that. It's been a while since I've seen Shrek. I don't know if Sam's seen that. We've been too busy watching like really good stuff.
Good movies, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first Shrek was fine. The second Shrek was better.
Yeah, it was. Third
because
one
it didn't exist solely for pop culture references. They actually, did other stuff while they were at it.
Yeah.
But so much of early DreamWorks stuff is pop culture, yeah. Disney wouldn't do this, yeah. Like the scene where the princess does the Matrix thing, and as the camera spins around, she like adjusts her hair.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
That's, they call it a gag, but like it's really you saw the Matrix, right? And that's the whole thing.
That's the whole thing, yeah.
And there's no depth to that. It's just sort of, well, it's what I just said. Yeah, things.
And and those don't age terribly well.
Yeah. Ouch.
We saw this isn't animated, but just thinking about Disney, we saw Cruella a couple days over the weekend. I actually really enjoyed it. I have found that I enjoy the Maleficents, the Cruellas, those sorts of live action remakes where it actually tells a different story more than the almost shot for shot remakes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, that's because one of those has some creativity and art behind it, and the other one is money grabbing rehash.
Well, they're all going to make money off of it no matter what. But yeah, it took me a long time to realize that it was Emma Stone. I was like, I know this actress. I know. It took me a while, but as soon as I hit on it, I was like, that's her. And then later I looked at it, I'm like, yep. But that's not animated. We did also start watching. I think it's called. Oh, Dorks gone now. I should ask him about this. I think it's Star Wars Visions. Thank you. Saw the first 3 episodes of that, and I really kind of like the what if style where it's like these very distinct, very self-contained little stories with these very visually striking art styles. The first one was just amazing. Have you seen any of these, Chewie?
No, not yet. Dirk won't watch them because they're non-canon, though. So.
Oh yeah, they're super not canon. The first one is you know, ba- I'm going to say the wrong thing, but it's done in the style. It's in almost black and white, and it's done like a samurai movie, um, and it's fantastic. And they still throw in the Star Wars references. There's a scene where some people are fighting, and like you see a pod crash, and I swear it's like Sebulba making sounds as it hits the ground, and I'm like, ha! I caught that.
Huh, neat.
Yeah, check it
Yeah.
out sometime.
For those that don't know, Star Wars Visions, it's sort of like Love, Death, and Robots, or if you're not familiar with that, like the Animatrix. So it's a bunch of
Yes.
stories, each with its own distinct art style, set in the Star Wars universe. Like the Animatrix was that, but set in the Matrix universe.
Yeah.
And it's getting rave reviews from the people that I've seen talking about it. They're like, "Oh my god!" I realized that I don't care about Star Wars as much as I used to, thanks to uh, recent events. So I was not in any hurry to watch them.
I have seen the first three episodes. I've enjoyed them. Um, and I gotta say, I saw Animatrix when it came out, and I didn't really get it. Like, I think I was at a point in my life where I just was like, I didn't really. I almost kind of wanted something that was a little more uniform, something that kind of felt more like one continuous story. And so it wasn't really for me. And now I'm kind of wondering if I need to go back and rewatch some of those because
It,
I didn't really absorb it, you know.
it's worth it. My brother and I liked them a lot. We had it on, we got it on VHS, and
Wow.
there are some that are like, there are some that are definitely like, wow, this is awesome, and there are some that are like, okay, that was pretty good, and there are a couple
There are a couple that
where
are like,
I was
"Why?"
like, what in the heck did I just watch?
But hey, you know, that's kind of part of the point is you get these different perspectives, so or at least I'm assuming.
Yes.
Mm. Apparently, there's going to be a second season of Love, Death, and Robots for anyone interested. I think that's a thing that I read. Love, Death plus Robots. Wikipedia. Here we go. Ah, yeah. In June 2019, Netflix renewed the series for an 8-episode second season that was released already. Okay, never mind. Oh, third season scheduled for release in 2022. Okay. Sorry, there was a second season. Apparently, there will be a third season. Love, Death, and Robots is a similar idea. Like, each episode is a drastically different thing
Uh huh.
with a different look and a different feel and all of that. And but apparently, they all involve Love, Death, and Robots somehow. I'm not gonna lie, I've never watched it, so I don't know. All I know is that Gothic was like, "Oh my god, did you watch this?" I went, "No." He's like, "You should," and I went, "Okay," and I haven't watched it yet. But
I think this is the first time I'm hearing about this, so
well, it's not the sort of thing that you would watch, really, judging what I know of your taste and things you watch when Sam's around and when Sam's not around. It didn't strike me as a Brian thing, so
okay.
it doesn't surprise me. And yeah, Hoodwinked. That's the movie Brian was referencing earlier.
Oh yeah, the red box. Yeah.
Yeah, I always liked Hoodwinked as a quick little. Aw, who did Hoodwinked? Because that wasn't DreamWorks either. Hoodwinked. That was. Uh, it's produced independently by Blue Yonder Films with Canbar Entertainment. Oh, okay. So it was an indie
Blue
sort of thing.
Yonder. Yeah.
Yeah, Blue Yonder Films isn't even a link in this Wikipedia entry, so that Should tell you something.
Maybe it was a venture that was just put together to do that one.
Let's see here. Canbar Entertainment. The studio produced Hoodwinked, which was one of the first computer animated films to be entirely independently financed. Okay. Freaking Weinstein Company had something to do with it. Canbar sued the Weinstein Company for some reason. And then the sequel came out, Hoodwinked 2, Hood versus Evil, which no one saw because it apparently it only earned $23 million worldwide. Ooh.
Wow. Maybe it went straight to Redbox.
And there's nothing here about the end of the studio or anything, but it said they also produced Lifelines and Seducing Charlie Barker, which released in 2009 and 2010. And that's all it says. So, I don't know. But anyway, yeah, Hoodwinked relied a whole lot more on story and writing than it did animation because it was clearly a lower budget than, Pixar. But I still enjoyed it. It was quality stuff.
Okay. Not knocking it, just that seemed to be the only place I ever saw it was, at that kind of location. But I never actually watched it. So
I watched it on Netflix or something many years ago and was like, Or actually,
what were you like?
Actually, it came out in 2005?
Huh.
So, yeah, that sounds about right. I always enjoy stories that tell the same story from multiple people's point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see how it all fits together.
And maybe you can tell that things aren't quite as one-sided as they appear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that just came out, like, while I was dashing, the Nintendo Direct happened, and they announced the Nintendo movie, and I opened up the School of Movies Discord, and they were like, "What?" And I was like, "Huh? Wait, what?" So when I was at a place waiting on an order, I clicked the link and read through it, and I was like, "What in the blue hell is this? Please stop." But no, it's real. So, yeah. Oh, and Universal Pictures is expected to distribute the film. Huh. Neat. I hope it doesn't suck.
Same.
Me too.
Like, it's really sad that's my main goal here. I hope it doesn't suck. But,
Yeah.
Seth Rogen is Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong is awesome. Good. Chris Pratt is Mario. My brain just can't.
Yeah.
Like at all. It keeps trying to picture it, and then I hear glass shattering, and then I hear do 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 because my brain would rather play Castlevania music than try to think about it.
Yeah. It's probably a very typical response.
So, yeah.
They're staying away from any controversial characters. Like, where's the representation with Birdo?
I mean, it is Nintendo, so that actually doesn't surprise me that they would avoid putting Nintendo in it. Or putting Birdo in it.
I mean, I remember being like less than 10 years old and getting the manual for Super Mario 2 and being very confused where the manual said Birdo thinks he's a girl. And I'm like, keep in mind, this was the 1980s and I hadn't really been exposed to anything like that. So I'm just like, huh, I wonder why they did that. And now I'm like, were they
Yeah.
just trying to be funny, or was this ahead of its time?
Yeah, is Birdo a trans
Probably.
icon? Let us know, because I never see Birdo shown as a trans icon, but maybe Birdo should be. I'm just saying.
Way ahead of its time, man. So
It's most likely a freaking a misprint in the or a mistranslation in the in the American
very,
manual.
very well could be.
Like in
Yeah.
the Dracula's Curse manual, Sypha Belnades says he. So all my life I thought Sypha was a he, because you know the sprite in Dracula's Curse, Castlevania 3. It's very hard to tell, and I never actually beat it, so I never got to see the end animation where like she's got her hood down, I think, and is all snuggled up next to Trevor. I never saw any of that. So when the show, the Netflix show started and Sypha was a girl, I was like, why'd they make Sypha a girl? And then I hit Google, and it turns out Sypha's always been a girl, except in the one place that I looked. I was like, huh. How about that?
That was a really good show.
I still need to watch the last 2 seasons. Like after
You really
season
do.
2, I was like, yeah. And then I watched the first episode of season 3 and I went, eh. And then I just never picked it back up. But I really need to watch it.
You really do.
I don't know when School of Movies is going to do the Castlevania show episode, but since I was on the game episode, hopefully he'll ask me back on. So I really need to watch that and take notes. So that's what I had, was the Castlevania and Advance Collection, and then the Mario movie.
Is School of Movies going to do the Legend of Zelda show review?
I severely doubt it. They don't really do shows all that often unless it's something really, really juicy.
I just want an in-depth discussion of, well, excuse me, princess.
Actually, before I decided to do the MCU thing, I thought about doing an episode, like a video essay type thing about that cartoon. I have notes and everything. Like I watched through it all, taking notes about stuff, and it's better than you remember, except for the "Excuse Me, Princess" and Link being basically a G-rated sex pest. Like other than that, which I know that's a big other than, but other than that, it's actually really good. Like Zelda kicks a lot of ass. Zelda does more in that show, I think, than Link does, so it's way ahead of its time.
I liked that show. I would wait until Friday because the rest of the week they did the Mario.
Yeah, the Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
And I was like, is it Friday yet? Is it Friday yet? Because I just didn't.
Right?
Yeah.
But like, Ganon never goes full Skeletor in that show. Like he's always menacing.
Yeah.
And he's never completely goofy. There are a couple times where he starts to get goofy, but it ends before he goes, like I said, full Skeletor. Like I had all kinds of notes. I might still do that at some point.
The sound it makes when he teleports. When I was a kid, I was like, "This is the coolest thing ever." And then I watched it an episode or two on YouTube a couple of years ago, and I'm like, that still holds up. It's details like that I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. And there were so many references to because you remember this came out before Zelda 2.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so there was literally one. I think that's right. Hang on, I might be lying.
That wouldn't surprise me, but
if I'm lying, yeah. Legend of Zelda cartoon. That was 89. Okay, when did Zelda 2 come out? 87. Okay, sorry. Wait, that's in Japan. Well, that still would have been a thing. Okay, so no, the only 2 games that were around, or the only 2 games that were around at the time were Zelda 1 and 2. So in one, Zelda had been kidnapped, and you saw her as the literal last thing you did, and the other one, she was asleep.
And it's not even the same Zelda. which as a kid,
Oh,
I'm
that's
like,
true. Yeah. As a kid, I didn't know that, but
I got it, but I'm like, it took me a while to wrap my head around it.
like it. There's a lot of firsts. Like the first time you ever see Link on a horse, you see Zelda using a bow a lot.
Hmm.
Uh,
They were able to get around some of the like, oh, we can't have violence in cartoon stuff because you notice he never actually stabs anyone with a sword. Every time a monster's defeated, it's with a little blast.
yeah, it's always
Oh,
the sword beams that his sword shoots out.
yep. See, he's not stabbing anyone. He's just, disintegrating them. That's
Yeah,
much better for the censors.
yeah. None of the skeletons like throw bones at him. They throw bombs, and then the bomb lands next to him, and then they go ah, and then they either kick it back to the skeleton or they jump away.
Yeah.
Like there's not any actual fight because it was still a Saturday morning cartoon essentially, even though it was Friday
Yeah.
afternoon.
At a time when every parent was like, can't have violence on TV.
But it was seriously better than it gets credit for, except for Link himself and his catchphrase and his "Give me a kiss, princess." Oh my god.
Yeah. I liked it, but, we're talking about a long time ago. I had very different standards. So,
Yeah, it's on what is that? What's it on? Tubi. TUBI, which is a free streaming service, which is where I watched it last year or whenever to the year before, whenever it was that I watched it and took notes. And it's only 13 episodes, so feel free to go watch it. It holds up better than you would expect if you can get around Link himself. I wonder where my notes are. I bet they're right here. Hang on. Yup.
Nice.
Like I took notes about all of the video game things that happen in each episode. Like Gleeok and Gleeok heads. And Gibdos. Things from Zelda 2. I see the words Link gets a little rapey in here in my notes several times. An annoying fairy companion. Yeah, the Zelda cartoon started that. Link surfs on his shield at some point, way before Legolas ever did it. Yeah, there's all kinds of good stuff here. Goria with boomerangs? Whoa. Dodongo that Zelda, if I remember correctly, it was Zelda, actually finished him off by shoving a bomb in his face. Like you do to Dodongo in the first game.
yep.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Well, not thoroughly, but I enjoyed it. I might have to do that. Also, if anyone's still listening, I'm thinking instead of putting all of these planned videos on the existing YouTube channel, I'm thinking of starting a new channel for those. Which is opposite of what I was thinking before, but the more I think about it, the more I think I want to start a new channel. Because it seems like new channels with a laser focus for things like that.
At this point,
Do what?
I said I think that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, from what I can tell, new channels that have a laser focus for, here's what I do on this channel, seem to do well, whereas my channel, which has been around forever and still isn't doing well, that might help its chances of actually getting to more people. Yeah, that's the hope anyway. So I'm thinking I'm gonna start a new channel. I just have to figure out what to call it. I have a couple ideas, but I don't want to throw them out there before I actually make the channel. So. Yeah. But anyway. So what else you guys got? Anything else?
Work is kind of insane for me right now. But otherwise, I'm good. Yeah, enjoying Midnight Hunt on a magic level, and personal wise, at least everybody around me seems to be healthy. I'm struggling with a little something myself, but I think I'll be all right. It's one of the nice things
Is this
about
the same crud you've had for like a month and a half?
a little bit of that, but then things got kicked up quite a bit earlier this week when the weather changed. So, um, I'm on some medication, and if it doesn't clear up soon, I'll probably go see a doctor just to be safe.
Didn't you say that a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, I'm very slow to go to doctors. I really am. So, which is not a good thing, but the coughing has gone way, way, way down. See, now I've got different symptoms. So, yay. My body is a petri dish. Technically, everybody's body is a petri dish. It's more like 20 petri dishes stacked on top of each other. But I'm not a scientist, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. But otherwise, I mean, I don't really have a whole lot. I'm probably going to be heading out in a minute just because I am getting pretty tired. I've made it this far and I've enjoyed the conversation. Mike, is anything going on with you other than, the obvious?
Yeah, I've been vacationing, having a nice time. Niagara Falls was awesome. Uh, Up here in the mountains, taking a little break. Oh, I finally saw the second Fantastic Beasts movie
Oh, my
a
condolences.
little while ago. Yeah, yeah. Ashley and I had just had like a pizza and movie night one night while we were up there, and part of the problem is that I felt like the whole time I was waiting for another movie that didn't start because
Yep.
it's called The Crimes of Grindelwald, or however you say his name.
Grindelwald.
Grindelwald. And he, like, that's not what it's about.
Nope.
Like, in the very least. He doesn't even hardly do any crimes. Like, within the first 5 minutes, spoiler alert, he escapes from police custody and kills some people. But then besides that, it's like trespassing. And I guess you could say racketeering, since he's in charge of a criminal gang. But
I mean,
like
he
the
tries
whole
to.
movie, I was like, okay, we're going to get into the story where it talks about all his crimes and how it's been behind all this stuff going on. It's like, nope, nope, nope. And then there gets to this big scene where he's making a big speech. And I'm like, all right, he's going to talk about all the crimes. No. And then up until the very last scene of the movie, it's like, okay, here it is. The big reveal about not his crimes. Okay, yes, that piece of information is very interesting, but that is not what I was expecting to hear.
I mean, he was going to burn down one of the most populated cities in Europe because, quote, he hates Paris.
Okay, but
that's a pretty big. That's like several crimes rolled into one.
Okay, fine.
He also started a cult.
Yeah, like I said, racketeering maybe.
Yeah.
But
okay. There's very clearly some breaking and entering and trespass.
I mean, starting a cult isn't a crime. Otherwise, Donald Trump would be in jail.
Oh, well, this doesn't apply to rich people, so.
Or people who act like they're rich.
Yeah.
Freaking.
But yeah, so maybe if I wasn't waiting for another movie to start, I would have liked it a little more.
No, that's the whole problem with that movie. It's literally set up for the series, the movie. People complain that that's what Iron Man 2 was, but at least Iron Man 2 had its own story that was happening at the same time.
Uh-huh.
Like, freaking Crimes of Grindelwald was just like, all right, we're going to set this up, and eventually it'll pay off. 2 or 3 movies down the line, which haven't happened. They just announced that the next one is coming, I think, next year. And the reaction was, why?
Not the, oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah, when it was done, and Ashley was like, "When's the next one coming out?" And she saw it was fairly soon. She said, "I think if I saw this movie when it came out, I would have been more upset because it was going to be so long before the next one."
Yeah.
Yeah, like my problem with it was not only that, but like in the very beginning, they undid all of the characterization of like half the characters from the first movie.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, what they did to the
that
non-Maj
was a little weird.
and the blonde was that was the crime right there. Was what the movie did to their relationship.
Right?
And I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not saying you can't have stress in these and like have them redefine their relationship, but that was literally like taking a dump on it. So I am 100% with you there.
So, and with the revelations about J.K. Rowling that have come since uh the second movie came out, I was like, well, I'm glad that movie sucked because now I don't care if I never see another one, and hopefully they won't make any more. But apparently they're making another one for some reason. I won't be seeing it though because I don't give money to turfs, especially turfs that won't even admit that they're turfs. Yeah. If she'd just be like, you know what? Yes, I just hate trans people, then it would actually be less awful. If she was like, no, 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 it's science, you see. Shut up. Die in a fire.
I think the worst movie for me, as far as the naming being wrong, I may have talked about this before, but Star Wars: Attack of the Clones was one where I, like Mike, was sitting there the whole time, and at one point I'm like checking the ticket, like halfway through, they're talking about clones. Are they going to attack? And finally, with what, like 20 minutes left, they save the good guys. And I'm like, woohoo, they're attacking. It's more like Defense of the Clones,
Yeah,
but
it's like
sure,
the
whatever.
rescue by the clones. What? Yeah, the attack of the clones didn't happen until the next movie.
Yeah, yeah. But at least, yes, like Crimes of Grindelwald, it did feel like it was setting up for a next movie, but more in the way that all of those movies, while I don't love the prequels, they clearly had a solid direction to them. Like you could tell this is what they're setting up for. Part of the reason that you know that is because they're adding on to a story from 20 years prior that everybody knew. So it's not like it's going to come out, oh, Darth Vader was Luke Skywalker all along, because it's not. So that's pretty well. Sorry, spoilers, Mike, if you haven't seen these movies. I know you haven't caught up to the rest of us, but love you, Mike. But they had to find parameters that they had to get almost in starting position for by the end of the third movie, or set it up for. So
Oh, excuse
yeah.
me.
All right. Well, gentlemen, it has been a pleasure. Mike, I know you've been on your honeymoon. Did you see the email I sent, the long one?
I did. I
Okay,
read it.
that's fine. I realized there were two important questions I didn't even include in that, and I'm not going to get onto that now on the mana pool, but we'll talk more about that later. Um, and we'll coordinate about a time for Saturday sometime. Sometime tomorrow, we'll make sure everybody's on board for Saturday, okay?
Okay.
Sorry.
Yes?
Movie Bob just tweeted a link to the Mario movie thing. Apparently, the official title is Mario. So, just kill me. But his tweet says, "I will pretend to try very hard to keep an open-ish mind about this."
I just want to know, are they going to keep his name being Mario and Luigi Mario canon? Because that is literally the one thing that the live action movie gave us.
That and monkey.
What that? Yeah, yes, okay. But I mean, that actually, like, that is still how he's referred to sometimes, but I don't know that it's ever been said in a game. So
I seem to remember Nintendo actually coming out and saying that somewhere. Like, yeah, that's their names, duh. But I don't know if that's true or if I'm just making that up.
Yeah, maybe it's the same guy that put out the Zelda timeline to be like, sure, fine, whatever, shut up. So that's a discussion we had while you were gone, Mike.
It is, yeah.
I'm familiar with what you're talking about, and that's very believable. Just be like, okay, here, shut up.
All right, you guys have a good night.
Maybe.
Good night.
See, Mike, you show back up, and now everyone abandons me before the end.
Mm-hmm.
The way
Just
things
like
are meant to be.
Yes.
So, how was the water? Did it
It
fall?
was great. Yep, there was a lot of it. It was just falling all over the place. Some of it was shooting. Some of it was even shooting back up into the air. It was falling so hard.
Whoa! Have they never heard of gravity up there? Oh, Lord. Did you see the photos of the time that they froze? That was like the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, I've seen some of those. That's awesome.
I mean, they were in the, or at least 1,000 years ago when I went, they were in the little museum thing there at the falls.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah, they had some of those.
I went to
And
Niagara Falls with my parents when
they
I
used
was
to build like
when I was between like 10 and 14, I want to say.
Mhm.
Maybe something like that, maybe slightly younger. I can't remember. So, it's been a hot minute. I know you know that, but I was telling the viewer people.
Yeah. But yeah, it's awesome. Like the state park there and the falls themselves and like the Maid of the Mist boat ride and the Cave of the Winds walk. Those are awesome. Um, the city itself, some parts of it feel really lived in and worn out. There are some areas of the city where you can tell they're just kind of coasting by on things that were built 40, 50 plus years ago. They're trying to do some revivals. They're in the process of doing stuff like that. And there is some new stuff there, but there's room for improvement here and there. But the main attractions themselves are just really great. It's a really nice state park. The park itself is open 24/7. You can just walk around it whenever you want. There's no entry fee or anything. Not everything in the park stays open, of course,
Yeah.
24/7. They have more like reasonable business hours. But yeah, it's great. Some of the best times we had were like walking around the park or, you know, seeing the falls up close on those rides and tours. It was great.
Nice.
Yeah, the Cave of the Winds is a little misleading. It's called the Cave of the Winds because at one time there was like a rock formation that made a little cave-like structure that the Bridal Veil Falls fell on. But that rock formation collapsed like 100 years ago, but they still call that spot the Cave of the Winds, even though there's no cave there anymore. So it's whatever. But instead, that means you're standing directly under Bridal Veil Falls when you when you go up there.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just going up to the of the winds. What? You know, the of the winds. Okay. Ow. I think while we were up there, we also went to an amusement park somewhere not terribly far away. What was that called? I think it was, what was it? Google. Was it Darien Lake? I want to say. Oh, now it's Six Flags Darien Lake. Oh, okay.
Was it on the New York side or the Canada side?
We didn't actually go to Canada because we didn't have a passport. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's
same. We didn't go because we don't have passports back yet.
I don't think it's no, it's east of Buffalo. So it's not like,
so it's a bit of a drive.
yeah, it's not like up there at Niagara Falls.
Okay, got it. Yeah. Yeah, we were just right there. We didn't even rent a car. We just like got an Uber from Buffalo to the hotel, and our hotel was right there next to the state park and right across from the border. And there was a shuttle. There's a free shuttle that can take you some other nearby places. And
Nice.
the food was expensive as hell, though. It's like not only is it we're in New York State, but it's also a touristy place, so spent a lot more on eating out than we expected.
That sounds about right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I need to go see Megan and Casey sometime.
Yeah.
Since I was door dashing and no longer completely flat broke, I was talking to them about coming to visit when the world ended.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I remember you telling me about that.
And then things started to get better, so I was talking to them about coming to visit, and then things got worse again. So, everybody, I know I said this last week, get a shot. So once everyone gets a shot, then we'll all be back to normal, or closer to normal than we are now, and then I can go see the girls again, damn it, because I haven't seen them in many years now at this point. I need to get back up there while Noah's still alive, damn it, because Noah is the best boy. And he's getting old.
How old is Noah?
I don't actually know. But, like, Casey refers to him as the old man now. So, yeah. And I see posts on Facebook about, oh, he can't quite keep up with Trigger anymore, but he still loves doing whatever it is that they're doing. And I'm like, yeah, he's a good boy. There are only 2 dogs I ever, like, bonded with in my life. And Cody, Lex's dog, was one of them. And then Noah was the other. Mm-hmm. Noah's my buddy. So, yeah, we need to get the world back in order so I can go see the girls so I can see Noah. I mean, see them too, but also see Noah. Damn it. But anyway. Well, I guess we should probably stop for the night, huh? Because it's almost 10:30.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, and you've got, like, stuff to do that doesn't involve sitting here talking to me.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Well, I would say final thoughts, but this has been a whole episode of final thoughts, so not really. So to everyone that's listening on the podcast feed, I hope that this was everything you wanted. I asked before, hey, should I put these Just Chatting streams on the podcast feed? And people said, sure. I went, okay. So there you go. It's like an extended odds and ends. So if you want to hear even more stuff like this, you can go to patreon.com/themanapool and sign up to become a lifeguard. Yay! And then if you do the mythic lifeguard, I will give you a shout out like this. Thanks to Al, Kimho, Scuzzo, John Parker, Jake Jansons. Oh, what? Okay, Mouse, stop that. Who did I just say, Jake? Mike! Oh, that guy. It's good to have you back, by the way, Mike.
Thanks.
Team Ellis, how are you? PJ McMullen, Violet Moon, The Beast Father, Aaron Goodwine, Jason Kaus, Andrew Hunt, Aleph Cat, Cody Buckowing, Casey. Yeah, that's what I was just talking about. Jeff Spencer, Gothic Man, Jason Doan, Mr. Dr. Lewis, Connor Kennedy, Stan, and ALK Alters. Yay. That is you, Scuzzo. That's yeah. I didn't even know you were here. Hey, buddy. But with that, yeah, I guess we'll be done now. So this has been us dorks just chatting about Castlevania and Mario movie. So be sure to let us know in the comments or in the Discord or whatever, somewhere on Twitter, just wherever, what you think of the chances for the Mario movie. And are you going to get the Castlevania Advance Collection? You totally should. It's good. And yeah, all that good stuff. Let us know stuff. So thank you all so very much for joining us. And don't stunt cast your animated films. Hire real voice actors.